Sunlight streamed through the attic window. Dust motes danced in the golden rays. She shifted an old lampshade, its fringe brittle with age. The attic was a graveyard of forgotten things. Each item held a whisper of the past. Emma had always been drawn to the attic. It was a place of mystery, a place where time stood still. Memory stirred. Her grandmother used to tell her stories of the past, stories that made Emma's heart ache with longing and wonder. The attic smelled of musk and cedar. A faint scent of lavender lingered in the air. It was the scent of her grandmother's perfume. She found a rocking horse with a chipped mane. A stack of yellowed newspapers announced long-forgotten headlines. A child's doll lay abandoned in a corner, its porcelain face cracked and faded. The attic was both enchanting and unsettling. She paused, her gaze drawn to a dark corner. Something glinted in the shadows. Curiosity piqued. Emma moved towards it. She brushed aside cobwebs and reached into the darkness. Her fingers closed around something cold and hard. It was a metal box, its surface cold and damp. It was heavier than she expected. The metal was cold against her skin. She ran her fingers over its surface. Intricate carvings adorned its sides. They were delicate and beautiful, like the etchings on an ancient tomb. The box was locked. Emma searched for a keyhole, but there was none. She tried prying it open with her fingers, but it wouldn't budge. The box held its secrets tightly. Frustrated, she turned the box over and over in her hands. What was inside? Why was it hidden away in the attic? It was faded with age, but she could just make out the words, "To my dearest Margaret." Emma's heart skipped a beat. Margaret was her grandmother's name. Suddenly, the attic felt different. The air seemed to crackle with anticipation. Emma knew she had stumbled upon something important. A wave of sadness washed over her. Her grandmother had passed away several years ago. Emma missed her dearly. She wished her grandmother were here now. She had so many questions about the past, about their family, about this mysterious box. Emma took a deep breath and tried again. This time, she noticed a small latch on the side of the box. It was almost invisible, hidden amongst the carvings. With a gentle push, the latch clicked open. The hinges protested with a groan. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, lay a single yellowed envelope. Emma's heart pounded. She carefully lifted the envelope from the box. It was addressed to her grandmother in flowing cursive script. The ink was faded, but she could still make out the words, "To my dearest Margaret, may this letter find you well." It was a simple design, a heart pierced by an arrow. She wondered who had sent the letter. Was it a secret admirer, a long-lost friend, or someone else entirely? Emma's fingers trembled as she broke the seal. She slid the letter out of the envelope. The paper was thin and brittle. It crackled softly as she unfolded it. The letter was dated 1943. Emma's breath caught in her throat. This letter was over 80 years old. It was like holding a piece of history in her hands. The letter was written in the same elegant cursive as the address. The words were filled with longing and regret. Emma began to read. The first few lines sent a shiver down her spine. The letter spoke of a forbidden love, a secret rendezvous, and a heartbreak that echoed through time. Emma felt a strange connection to the words on the page. It was as if her grandmother was speaking directly to her, sharing her deepest secrets. I pen these words with a heart overflowing with love and a soul burdened by guilt. My dearest Margaret, the letter began, each word a faded whisper from the past. Who was this man pouring his heart out on these fragile pages? The words were charged with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. I know we cannot be together, not in the way our hearts desire, the letter continued. Society's chains bind us, and family expectations weigh heavily upon our shoulders. What had her grandmother been caught up in? The attic seemed to press in on her, its shadows whispering secrets long forgotten. What did it all mean? But even though our love must remain hidden from the world, the letter went on, know that you are the sun that warms my soul, the moon that guides my path in the darkest night. Society's chains, family expectations, the words were like something out of a romantic novel, filled with a passion that seemed to transcend time. The letter spoke of stolen moments in moonlit gardens, whispered promises beneath starlit skies, and a love that burned brighter than any societal constraints. It painted a picture of a passionate affair, hidden from the prying eyes of a judgmental world. Each word was a brushstroke, creating a vivid tapestry of forbidden love in Emma's mind. Every stolen glance, every secret touch, is a testament to the depth of my love for you, my dearest Margaret, the letter declared. Each word a searing indictment of a society that dared to keep them apart. How could anyone deny such love? How could they try to extinguish a flame that burned so brightly? The letter went on to describe a world of clandestine meetings, carefully coded messages, and a constant fear of discovery. It spoke of picnics by hidden streams, dances disguised as chance encounters, and a love that thrived in the shadows, fueled by stolen moments and whispered promises. Emma shuddered, imagining the weight of their secret, the constant fear of exposure. I know that our path is fraught with danger, the letter continued, its words imbued with a sense of impending doom. But I would face 1,000 perils, 1,000 disapproving stares, just to spend a single moment in your presence, my beloved Margaret. Emma's heart ached for her grandmother and this mysterious James. They were like Romeo and Juliet, caught in a web of societal expectations and forbidden desires. Emma read on, each word a whispered confession, a plea for understanding. The letter spoke of sacrifices made in the name of love, of dreams shattered on the altar of societal expectations. It was a lament for a love denied, a love that burned bright, but was destined to be extinguished by the cold winds of disapproval. Emma felt a tear roll down her cheek. The attic, once a place of forgotten things, now felt alive with the echoes of her grandmother's hidden past. We live in a world of facades, my love, the letter continued, its tone shifting from passionate pleas to a bitter recognition of their reality. A world where appearances are paramount and true emotions must be concealed beneath a carefully constructed veneer of respectability. Why did society demand such sacrifices? Why couldn't people simply be true to their hearts? But even though we must play our parts in this grand charade, the letter went on, its words echoing with a sense of resignation. Know that my love for you remains untarnished, a beacon of truth in a sea of deceit. Emma imagined her grandmother, young and full of life, forced to conceal her true feelings, to live a lie for the sake of appearances. The letter spoke of a world where whispers could ruin reputations, where a single misstep could shatter a family's carefully constructed facade. It spoke of a time when love was a dangerous game, and the stakes were higher than anyone could imagine. The attic seemed to close in on Emma, its shadows filled with the weight of unspoken truths and long-buried secrets. Emma paused in her reading, her mind reeling. The letter had revealed a side to her grandmother she had never known existed. It was as if a hidden door had been unlocked, revealing a secret garden within her grandmother's heart, a garden filled with forbidden love, heartbreaking choices, and a longing that echoed through time. Emma took a deep breath and continued reading, eager to unravel the mystery of her grandmother's past. The world was at war. Newsreels flickered in darkened cinemas, showing grainy images of battles fought far away. The air crackled with uncertainty, a constant hum of anxiety underlying everyday life. But even as the world teetered on the brink, life in Margaret's small town carried on. Days were filled with rationing, air raid drills, and the constant worry for loved ones fighting overseas. Margaret, young and full of life, tried to find moments of joy amidst the uncertainty. She volunteered at the local canteen, serving coffee and smiles to soldiers on leave. She attended dances at the town hall, the music a welcome escape from the constant drone of news reports. Life, though overshadowed by war, still held glimmers of hope, fleeting moments of beauty amidst the chaos. One crisp autumn evening, Margaret found herself at the weekly dance. The air buzzed with a nervous energy as young couples swayed to the music, their laughter a fragile shield against the ever-present threat of war. Uniformed soldiers, home on leave, held their partners close, stealing precious moments of normalcy before being shipped back to the front. Margaret, dressed in a simple yet elegant gown, stood with her friends, her eyes scanning the crowd. Her gaze fell upon a young man standing by the refreshment table. He was tall and handsome, with a military bearing that spoke of discipline and courage. His uniform fit him impeccably, but it was his eyes that captivated her. They were a deep, soulful blue, filled with a mixture of melancholy and hope that drew her in like a moth to a flame. Their eyes met across the crowded room, a silent acknowledgement of something unspoken between them. Time seemed to slow down as he made his way toward her, his gaze never leaving hers. Margaret felt a blush creep up her cheeks, a mixture of excitement and trepidation fluttering in her stomach. He introduced himself as James, a pilot stationed at a nearby airbase. His voice was warm and reassuring, a soothing balm to her war-weary spirit. He asked her to dance, and she accepted, her hand trembling slightly as he led her to the dance floor. As they moved together, his hand strong and sure on her waist, Margaret felt a connection she had never experienced before. The music swirled around them, a mix of big band swing and romantic ballads, providing the soundtrack to their burgeoning feelings. They talked about everything and nothing, their conversation punctuated by laughter and stolen glances. He told her about his love of flying, the freedom he felt soaring above the clouds, a stark contrast to the chaos unfolding below. She confided in him her anxieties about the war, the constant worry for her brother fighting overseas, and the dream she held close to her heart. As the evening wore on, Margaret found herself drawn to James's quiet strength, his unwavering optimism in a world consumed by uncertainty. He, in turn, was captivated by her spirit, her ability to find joy even in the darkest of times. The dance floor, once filled with strangers, now felt like a world unto its own, a sanctuary where their connection deepened with every stolen glance, every shared laugh. Over the next few weeks, James and Margaret stole every moment they could together. They met for walks in the park, his hand brushing against hers, sending shivers down her spine. They shared ice cream sodas at the local drugstore, their laughter echoing in the dimly lit booths. Each stolen moment was a treasure, a precious jewel to be savored in a world where tomorrow was never guaranteed. They talked for hours, sharing their hopes and dreams, their fears and vulnerabilities. James, a man of action, yearned for a world at peace where he could hang up his uniform and pursue his passion for engineering. Margaret, a dreamer at heart, longed for a love that would last a lifetime, a love that could weather any storm. Their love blossomed amidst the uncertainty of wartime, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. They found solace in each other's arms. Their love a shared secret that gave them the strength to face another day. But their happiness was always tinged with a bittersweet awareness of their circumstances. James' leave wouldn't last forever. The war, like a dark cloud, loomed over their love, a constant reminder that their time together was borrowed, precious, and fleeting. And then there was the secret that Margaret carried, a secret that threatened to shatter their idyllic bubble of love and tear them apart. Emma carefully placed the letter back in the antique box. Her grandmother's hidden romance, so tenderly revealed in the faded ink, left her breathless. Who was this James, this man who had captured her grandmother's heart so completely? The attic, once a repository of forgotten things, now pulsed with untold stories, secrets whispering from the shadows. She sifted through the velvet lining of the box, hoping for another clue, another piece of the puzzle. Her fingers brushed against something smooth and cold. It was a photograph, tucked into the side of the box. Emma pulled it out, her heart pounding with anticipation. The photograph showed a young couple, their faces lit by radiant smiles. The woman, her grandmother Margaret, was undeniably beautiful, her eyes sparkling with joy. Beside her stood a tall, handsome man in military uniform, James. Emma's breath hitched. This was him, the man from the letter, the man who had stolen her grandmother's heart. They stood on the steps of a grand building, its facade partially obscured by the edge of the photo. The architecture hinted at a bygone era, a time of elegance and grandeur. Emma traced the outline of the building with her finger. Where was this place? Could it hold the key to unlocking more of her grandmother's past? The following day, Emma visited her great-aunt Clara, her grandmother's only surviving sibling. Aunt Clara, now in her late 80s, resided in a cozy cottage on the outskirts of town, surrounded by blooming roses and the comforting scent of baking bread. Emma had always been fond of her aunt, with her twinkling eyes and a treasure trove of stories about the past. Emma hesitated, unsure how to broach the subject of the letter and its revelations. Would Aunt Clara be willing to share family secrets, to shed light on a past that had been shrouded in silence for so long? You've got your grandmother's eyes, always searching, always curious. Emma took a deep breath and plunged in, sharing what she had found in the attic, the letter, the photograph, the yearning for answers. Aunt Clara listened intently, her gaze fixed on a distant point beyond the window pane, as if peering into the past. When Emma finished, a heavy silence settled over the room, broken only by the ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. There are some things that are best left buried with the past. Despite her aunt's reluctance, Emma couldn't let go of the mystery, the letter, the photograph, and now her aunt's cryptic words fueled her determination to uncover the truth about her grandmother's hidden love affair. The grand building in the photograph nagged at her. It was a tangible link to the past, a place where her grandmother and James might have stood, their love a silent promise beneath the eaves. Emma showed the photograph to her aunt, hoping for a flicker of recognition. Blackwood Manor. The name hung in the air, Heavy with unspoken history, Emma had heard whispers of the manor, a once grand estate that had fallen into disrepair, now nothing more than a crumbling relic of a forgotten time. That's Blackwood Manor. It was a different world back then. Things were complicated. Emma pressed for more, but her aunt remained tight-lipped, the wall of secrecy firmly in place. Some stories are not mine to tell. Undeterred, Emma decided to visit Blackwood Manor herself, hoping to find some trace of her grandmother and James, some echo of their love affair within the manor's crumbling walls. She discovered that the manor was located just outside of town, hidden at the end of a long, winding road, almost swallowed by the encroaching woods. As she drove, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she was embarking on a journey not just to a physical location, but also into the depths of her family's hidden past. The manor, when it finally came into view, was a haunting spectacle. The once grand facade was now weathered and cracked, the windows boarded up like vacant eyes staring out blindly. The gardens, once meticulously kept, were now overgrown, a tangle of weeds and wildflowers reclaiming what was once theirs. A shiver ran down Emma's spine as she stepped out of the car. The air hung heavy with silence, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the distant caw of a crow. It was as if time itself had stood still within the manor's grounds, holding its secrets close. Determined to find answers, Emma pushed open the creaking iron gates and stepped inside, her footsteps echoing in the stillness. A solitary figure venturing into a past that seemed both alluring and dangerous. "Mom, I need to talk to you about Grandma Margaret. What about your grandmother? I found something, a letter in the attic from a man named James. They were in love. Emma, some things are best left buried." It wasn't that simple, Emma. You don't understand, but why? Why keep it a secret? Why pretend it never happened? Then explain it to me. Make me understand. It was a different time. Things were complicated. It wasn't that simple. There were families, reputations, societal expectations. It was a scandal waiting to happen. Complicated? How can love be complicated? They loved each other. That's all that should have mattered. So they sacrificed their happiness? For what? For appearances? You think I don't know that? You think it didn't break my heart too? She sank back onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands. Sobs racked her body, her carefully constructed composure crumbling like the facade of Blackwood Manor. Emma moved to sit beside her mother, hesitantly placing a hand on her arm. She had never seen her mother so vulnerable, so raw with emotion. It was as if the years of silence had finally taken their toll, cracking the carefully constructed wall around her heart. As Emma held her mother, she realized that she wasn't just mourning her grandmother's lost love, but also the pain her mother had carried in silence for all these years. The weight of family secrets, the unspoken truths, had cast a long shadow over their lives. Neither did I, for the longest time. Not until it was too late. I never knew. As the afternoon wore on, the sobs subsided, replaced by a shared sense of grief and a tentative understanding. Emma learned that I had discovered the truth about her grandmother's past much later in life, through a series of letters found after her grandmother's death. The revelation had shaken me to my core, forcing me to confront the complexities of our family history and the sacrifices made in the name of societal expectations. I was angry at my mother for choosing duty over love, angry at myself for not knowing her better, angry at the world for being so unforgiving. Emma listened, her heart heavy with empathy. She realized that her journey to uncover her grandmother's past had also become a journey of understanding, a way to bridge the gap between generations and heal the wounds of the past. I think that we need to find out what happened. For Grandma, for James, and for ourselves. Yes, it's time to uncover the truth. The attic beckoned me once more. It was no longer a dusty repository of forgotten things, but a treasure trove of my family's past. Armed with a newfound determination to unravel the mystery surrounding my grandmother's life, I climbed the creaky attic stairs, my heart pounding with anticipation. Dust motes danced in the faint rays of sunlight filtering through the grimy window pane. The air hung heavy with the scent of time and decay, a musty fragrance that spoke of secrets long hidden. I navigated the labyrinth of forgotten furniture, my footsteps echoing in the stillness. I made my way towards the corner where I had discovered the metal box containing my grandmother's letter. The box itself was gone, carefully stored away in my bedroom, a tangible reminder of the secrets it held. But I sensed there was more to uncover, more pieces of the puzzle scattered amongst the forgotten relics of my family's past. I ran my fingers along a dusty shelf, my fingertips brushing against a cobweb-covered book. It was a large, leather-bound volume, its spine cracked and faded. Curiosity piqued. I carefully lifted the book from the shelf, a cloud of dust swirling around it. As I blew away the dust, I realized what I held in my hands. It was a family album, its once ornate cover now dull with age. The leather felt dry and brittle beneath my touch, as if the weight of time itself pressed down upon it. I carefully opened the album, its pages creaking in protest, and was greeted by a collection of sepia-toned photographs, each one a window into a bygone era. The first few pages were filled with formal portraits of stern-faced ancestors, their expressions unyielding, their eyes staring out from the past with an unnerving intensity. I flipped through the pages, each photograph a whispered reminder of the lives that had come before my own. As I delved deeper into the album, the photographs transitioned from formal portraits to candid snapshots of family gatherings, picnics in the park, and children playing in sun-dappled gardens. A bittersweet ache settled in my chest. These were glimpses into a past I had never known, a time when my family's history unfolded without me. And then I stumbled upon a photograph that made my heart skip a beat. It was my grandmother, Margaret, as a young woman, her eyes sparkling with mischief, her arm linked with a handsome young man I had never seen before. The man in the photograph was not James, the soldier who had captured her grandmother's heart in the letter. This man was different, his features less rugged, his attire more casual, yet there was an undeniable intimacy between them, a closeness that hinted at a bond deeper than friendship. He was tall and slender, with a mischievous glint in his eyes and a wide, charming smile that revealed a flash of white teeth. His hair was dark and wavy, falling carelessly across his forehead. He wore a tweed jacket and a bow tie, his attire a stark contrast to the military uniforms that filled so many other photographs from that era. A sense of unease washed over Emma. Who was this man? And what was his relationship with her grandmother? The answer, when it came, was scrawled on the back of the photograph in faded ink. In her grandmother's elegant cursive script were the words, "Edward, my dearest friend, 1942. Edward." The name meant nothing to Emma, yet it sent a shiver down her spine. Why would her grandmother keep a photograph of this man, her dearest friend, hidden away in the attic? What secret did their connection hold? A knot of anxiety tightened in Emma's stomach. Had her grandmother been involved with two men at the same time? Had she been torn between love and friendship, duty and desire? The attic, once a source of comfort and intrigue, now felt oppressive, the air thick with unspoken truths and long-buried secrets. Emma carefully closed the album, her mind racing with questions, her heart pounding in her chest. She needed answers, but where could she find them? Her Aunt Clara, her only living link to the past, had been reluctant to share family secrets, and her mother, still grappling with the revelations of her own past, was not yet ready to delve back into the labyrinth of their family history. Emma paced the attic floor, her thoughts a jumble of speculation and uncertainty. She needed to find out who Edward was, what role he had played in her grandmother's life, and why his memory had been consigned to the shadows. As she surveyed the attic once more, her gaze fell upon an old trunk tucked away beneath a dusty tapestry. It was a sturdy wooden chest, its surface adorned with faded travel stickers from exotic locations. Emma had never seen it before. Had it always been there, hidden in plain sight? Or had it materialized, as if summoned by her need for answers? With trembling hands, she knelt before the trunk and lifted its heavy lid. Inside, nestled amongst layers of tissue paper, lay a collection of letters, their envelopes yellowed with age, their ink faded but still legible. Emma's heart skipped a beat. Could these letters hold the key to unlocking the mystery of Edward and his connection to her grandmother's past? The local library was a sanctuary, a place where the scent of old books mingled with the quiet murmur of turning pages. Emma had always found solace within its hallowed halls, but today it held a different kind of promise, a chance to unearth the truth buried beneath layers of time and silence. She had brought the letters found in the attic trunk, their faded ink and brittle pages whispering of a past she was determined to understand. The name Edward echoed in her mind, a persistent mystery she yearned to unravel. The librarian, a kindly woman with a warm smile and a passion for local history, led her to the archive room, a dimly lit space filled with rows upon rows of towering shelves. The air hung heavy with the scent of aging paper and forgotten stories. Emma carefully laid out the letters on a large table, their envelopes arranged like clues in a forgotten game. Each one was addressed to her grandmother Margaret, the handwriting unfamiliar yet strangely compelling. She hoped they held the answers she sought, the missing pieces of her family's intricate puzzle. Hours melted away as I painstakingly transcribed the letters, their words painting a picture of a bygone era, a time of wartime anxieties and forbidden desires. Edward, it turned out, had been a conscientious objector, his refusal to fight in the war a source of both admiration and controversy. He and Margaret had bonded over their shared love of literature and music, their friendship blossoming in the shadow of a world consumed by conflict. The letters spoke of clandestine meetings, shared dreams, and a deep, abiding affection that transcended the boundaries of societal expectations. But it was a name mentioned in passing, a name scribbled in the margin of one of Edward's letters that sent a chill down my spine. The name was William, and it was followed by a date and a location, a hospital in London. Is everything all right? You seem a bit, shaken. I found a name. William. It was in the margin of one of Edward's letters. And there's a date and a location. It might be the key to unlocking the final secret. Let me see. William Hawthorne, she murmured, her voice barely audible. A young man admitted to St. Bartholomew's Hospital in 1943, suffering from, oh my, this is quite something. Suffering from, she repeated, her voice hushed, severe burns and shrapnel wounds, sustained during a bombing raid. The librarian, her expression a mixture of sympathy and understanding, retrieved a microfilm reel from the archives, its contents holding the potential to confirm Emma's suspicions. Emma's breath hitched. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, forming a picture both heartbreaking and horrifying. William, she realized, must have been the reason behind her grandmother's secret anguish, the true love she had sacrificed everything for. As the image flickered to life on the screen, Emma's heart sank. The young man in the photograph, his face bearing the scars of war, was undoubtedly the same man from the photograph in the family album, the man her grandmother had called Edward, my dearest friend. But it was the caption beneath the photograph that shattered Emma's world, revealing the truth in all its heartbreaking clarity. William Hawthorne, it read, heroic pilot, awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for bravery. William Hawthorne, the pilot, James, the pilot. They were one and the same. Emma stared at the photograph, tears blurring her vision. Her grandmother's hidden romance, the love she had sacrificed, the secrets she had carried for a lifetime, all made sense now. Margaret had loved James, the heroic pilot, with all her heart. But James, disfigured by war, believing himself unworthy of her love, had presented himself as Edward, a conscientious objector, a man she could befriend without the weight of his sacrifice overshadowing their connection. He had loved her enough to let her go, to protect her from the pain of his injuries, the burden of his shattered dreams. And Margaret, in a heart-wrenching twist of fate, had unknowingly fallen in love with the same man twice, bound to him by an invisible thread of destiny and heartbreak. Emma finally understood the depth of her grandmother's sacrifice, the silent agony she had endured, the love she had kept hidden for a lifetime. The library, once a sanctuary of knowledge, now felt like a sacred space, a repository of her family's most cherished and painful memories. Emma left the library that day, her heart heavy with sorrow yet strangely light with understanding. The final revelation, a bittersweet gift, a testament to the enduring power of love and sacrifice. The park was bathed in the golden glow of late afternoon sunlight. Emma found a secluded bench beneath a weeping willow, its branches cascading around her like a protective curtain. The gentle breeze carried the scent of freshly cut grass, and the distant laughter of children playing, a soothing balm to her troubled heart. She closed her eyes, replaying the events of the past weeks in her mind. The attic discovery, the letters, the photographs, the library archives. Each step had led her closer to the truth, a truth that was both heartbreaking and liberating. Her grandmother's story, once lost to time and silence, now unfolded in her mind, a tapestry woven with threads of love, sacrifice, and enduring hope. A single tear traced a path down her cheek as she thought of her grandmother and James, their love a fragile flame extinguished by the cruel hand of fate, the sacrifices they had made, the pain they had endured, weighed heavily on her heart. But amidst the sorrow, there was also a profound sense of gratitude for the courage it had taken for them to love so fiercely in a world determined to keep them apart. Gratitude for the legacy of love and resilience they had passed down through the generations. Emma took a deep breath, the crisp autumn air filling her lungs with a renewed sense of purpose. She couldn't change the past, but she could honor her grandmother's memory by embracing the truth, by celebrating the enduring power of love even in the face of unimaginable loss. The sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the park. Emma watched as families gathered, their laughter a testament to the enduring cycle of life and love. She thought of her own family, the bonds that connected them, the unspoken stories that shaped their lives. Her relationship with her mother, once strained by secrets and misunderstandings, now felt stronger, forged in the crucible of shared grief and newfound understanding. They had both loved and lost, and in their shared sorrow, they had found a deeper connection, a profound appreciation for the fragility and resilience of the human heart. Emma realized that the journey she had undertaken wasn't just about uncovering the past. It was about making peace with it, about embracing the complexities of family history and finding solace in the enduring power of love. She thought of James, the heroic pilot who had captured her grandmother's heart, his bravery matched only by his capacity for love and sacrifice. He had lived a life defined by duty and honor, his memory a beacon of courage and compassion. And she thought of her grandmother, Margaret, a woman of quiet strength and unwavering love, who had navigated a world of societal expectations and unspoken truths with grace and dignity. Her story, once hidden in the shadows, now stood as a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to love, to forgive, and to find hope even in the face of unimaginable loss. Emma left the park that evening, her heart filled with a bittersweet mixture of sorrow and gratitude. The secrets of the past had been revealed, the truth laid bare, and in their wake, a legacy of love and resilience remained, a beacon of hope guiding her towards a future where the past, though never forgotten, would no longer cast a shadow over the present.